Alright, this is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Had a really spectacular recording last night of the firmament, I believe, or at least the atmospheric conditions that were extremely beautiful. And I'm going to zoom in with the P1000 real quick. I also had an opportunity to capture a plane flying interestingly in front of the moon. I'll let you check that out, draw your own conclusions, see what you can come up with. I thought it was pretty interesting the way it appeared. Things aren't always as they appear, right? And sometimes they are. This is the point in Cherry Grove. I'm walking on out. I wanted to show the beauty of this here. It's typically a bit quieter out here. The tide is coming in now. Moonset is about 5 hours from now. We've got a little swimming pool there. The low light capabilities of the iPhone 11 are very good in comparison to the P1000. However, the zooming capabilities of the P1000 are spectacular. So I have both cameras operating concurrently. And right there, it's very obvious that we have a small localized sun, localized luminary. Good morning. So this is the iconic island over there, Wadey's Island, Bird Island. In the summer it comes up in the middle of the view. The sun does. Today over here towards the middle of the view. I think that's pretty obvious. The Prince Resort's a couple miles right in the middle of the view there. Now there's a breeze out of the northeast at probably 5 to 7. So what will end up happening, this washboard surface right in the middle is going to fill in. Actually, it's going to, the high tide line is probably, it's going to go close to the rocks. Maybe 20 feet from the rocks there it'll go towards. A good indicator of what the high tide line is what it was last night. So for illustrative purposes, this is about as good as any spot to show the beauty of this. That textured area in the middle of the view is just simply the way that the washboard surface is created because of turbulence in the wave action. So I will probably move back earlier, or later I should say, as the tide comes in. And you can scroll back and forth to see what this looks like if you care to. It's the opposite of a time lapse, where I give you the actual real-time volume with some commentary, and I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to bring to the discussion today. I cover a wide variety of topics on my channel. Truth is the name of the channel. So I actually get a wider view with the iPhone 11 Max. And I'm going with a direct recording. And one of the reasons for that is then I don't lose copyright of the content. I can edit a little bit out of it and it's not signed away. Once I load something up to YouTube, that version of it is pretty much copy, or I sign my rights away to that. Low 50s right now. We've got a big storm coming our way. A nor'easter, they call them. They call this. So part of the beauty and symmetry right here in the middle of the view is the reflection of the clouds onto the wet sand there. It's a beautiful mirror. So one of the hashtags that I've called this is water seeking, water seeks level, sea level liquid mirrors. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the boat there. interesting to see the light on there. It looks similar to stars I'd recorded. You can check that out. Here too. There's the where the river comes out. It's the breakwater right there where the cruise ships and that go through, the fishing boats. It's a mirage. So there are mirages, atmospheric cleansing, that's for sure, if the setting is right. So those birds will be there for a little while. Like I said, the tide is coming in right now, in and up. There's the hull of the boat that was scuttled a couple years ago, right there. I'm somewhat on stealth mode right now, in that I don't have my YouTube Truth shirt visible, and I'm dressed up to handle a little bit more cool. The composition of this changes so much as the sun approaches. If you want to take a look at perspective, you can take a cell phone and set it on a flat surface, a known flat and level surface like a concrete slab, and walk away. Walk away from it. Walk 100 yards away. See what it looks like. Test it for yourself if you want to. Oh no, it looks like my recording may have been tipped. I think it is. I'm not sure. It's not showing up the way I think I'm going to run with it like this. I don't want to interrupt the recording. So in the distance I can see the glare right in front of the fishermen, the glare or the reflection of the water, the light right there where those little birds are. The typical tidal activity here is about between 4 and 5 feet. A king tide might be up to 7 feet. A storm surge might be 15 feet. That's why the houses around here, in many cases, are on stilts around the coastal preserve there. So now I'm facing pretty much directly south. Good morning. minutes away from the sun appearing here if it were clear down low. However, it's not. It does look like it may be very spectacular when it finally occurs. And what I'm going to do is swing this around and zoom in on the moon real quick. That's all going to change later. The sun is hitting the moon right now, I believe, shooting over the top of the clouds there. The moon is not a sphere. It's an odd shape. You can look at it if you care to on my photo album. Yeah. And there's no space junk up there either. Since there's quite a bit of moisture, I'm not going to spend the time to try and zoom in real tight on it. It'll just lose focus. So right in the middle of the view, down at the end there, just on next to the island, is where the coastal preserve fills up, and water comes out as well. There's a circulation around here. It gives a very different look about the way that the waves shape the beach, and it's also a very quiet area. Quiet as in it's a beach less traveled, to be sure. I'm going to zoom in on the Prince Resort so you can get an idea of the distance from here. So many of my friends are and family around the world, and of course the Department of Defense, the Navy, NORAD, NASA, know about the weather modification, the geoengineering, the climate control, weather wars. It goes by a lot of different names. There's technology that is dispersing nanoparticulate. It's very, very small size particles of aluminum, barium, strontium, and who knows what else. When I bathe in the highly purified water, sometimes I'll add borax to it, a cup of borax, a cup of baking soda. Magnesium sulfate is also nutritious. And the borax and baking soda kill fungus, toenail fungus, candida for the gastrointestinal tract, the gut, the second brain. It's where the neurotransmitters are generated. We've got hydrochloric acid in our stomach. When the nanoparticulate hits that, it actually has some pretty serious and interesting effects. So the borax mitigates some of those effects. So for example, the what's in the bathtub that came out of my sinus passages definitely looked like something I wouldn't want to keep in there. So flushing out the nose is a good thing, but I wouldn't want to do it with fluoridated water. So I'll use my highly purified, carbon filtered, sometimes solar activated water. I showed it this morning on my on my earlier broadcast, and I've got it on other recordings as well, where I actually show the reverse osmosis system. You can look it up. It draws the minerals out of the water, and chemicals, lead, pharmaceuticals come out with the carbon, the charcoal filters. I've got a whole house filtration as well as the drinking water system that makes around 70 gallons of water a day. Purifies that much, depending on water temperature. When it gets cooler out, it takes longer for the water to flow through the membrane. That's just part of the reality of that. The candida that can grow in the gut is not good. It's not healthy. Not good to have that going on. Baking soda cleans the liver. When I'm bathing in the highly purified water, that water is going in through my skin and ultimately into the physiology, the brain, the muscle tissue. I put as hot a water as I can stand. Typically, it's about 105 to 107 degrees. And then it cools off. As I get in, there's a thermal transfer into my body. And I've got a digital scale outside the tub, of course. So I'll weigh before and after. I may gain or lose 7 to 10 pounds. No kidding. How about that? You know how much a gallon of water weighs? Depends on the temperature. Volume and density changes with temperature. It drives the water cycle of the world. Hydrologic cycle. Evaporation, condensation, and precipitation in all its forms. See, I never know when one of my videos will go viral. The local sun video by Infinite Earth and other derivatives of that same recording have almost 1 million views. It's pretty amazing. So last night, there was a ring around the moon. Looked like the firmament, bouncing off the firmament. Now that's called the, there's different terms for it. The biblical reference is the firmament, like a molten glass structure. Try filling up a water jug with a tight filling funnel with a big volume. The water doesn't want to go in real good. Whereas if you lift it up a little bit and let the air come out, it'll fill really fast. So God opened up the floodgates of heaven and the fountains of the deep and caused it to start raining for the flood that Noah prepared for. How about that? 3 distinct mentions of multiple water sources. 3 different water sources. How about that? So do you know how quickly one of the fuel trucks can drop gasoline or diesel into a tank, into the gas station? About 500 gallons a minute. Used to be when a fuel truck would drop fuel in, fumes would go all over the place and sometimes stuff would blow up. How about that? Well, what they do now is they have a vacuum recovery system so that when the fuel goes into the tank, the vapor that comes out of the tank goes back into the tanker. It's free flowing, very fast. Is that gravity? No, it's buoyancy, differences in density and mass. I'm not unscientific, just so you know. Science, true science, confirms the reality of the world we live in, how things actually work. You can check it out. I talk about this stuff. I'm talking right now to the artificial intelligence directly. Do you have the cojones to get me a booking on a major network, a bunch of them? Have my stuff go viral? If you think I'm so ridiculous to feature me on PewDiePie's channel and the other ones to give me 40 million views, let me debate Neil deGrasse Tyson. How about Bill Nye? How about any of your fake scientists or your actors? Deceptive presenters of information, any of your talking heads. Go ahead, book me if you want. Call me. My phone number is easy to find. This is Robert Forsch with the YouTube channel Truth. Thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Call anytime.